truck. Obviously, one of the sales guys will check it in. We'll come out and do a good visual inspection. First thing the rider always has to do is we always verify the specs on the vehicle. We always go through and make sure the engine is right, tranny's right, gear ratio's right, everything that rider put in the fleet that we spec'd it out when it was new. We'll basically come and do a visual inspection. We'll check for any visual oil leaks. We'll check for anything leaking anywhere. We'll check the fuel filter. We'll check the air filter. We'll also pull the dipstick, make sure it's been PM'd and oil changed. And we do have a check-in sheet that we go by when rider gets the truck. So we use a check-in sheet. We'll also do a visual on the brakes to make sure the brakes were thoroughly inspected. Tires is a big issue with rider. We always will check our tires. Always sure make the tires have a certain tread depth when they come in. As you can see, these tires are in great shape. The other thing we always check for from the front of the frame rail is to make sure that the frame rails have been repainted black in the truck. Rider always has them repainted black. Along with our wheels also, the wheels will be repainted white. Now if the frame rail is in good shape and it doesn't need to be painted, nor the wheels, we won't do it. But if it needs to be done, we will have it done. We'll check our windshield, make sure we have no visual cracks in the windshield. Make sure there's no paint damage on the vehicle also. We'll check and make sure that the paint is not chipping, peeled, or coming apart. One of our policies on paint also, it can't be 3 shades of color. It has to be at least not more than 2 shades of color or back the original color from factory spec when it comes in. So as you can see, this one is, the paint's in great shape. We'll check everything for safety as far as catwalks, make sure there's no damage to the catwalks, see if they can get hurt on. One of the big things at rider is the fifth wheels always have to be steam cleaned down, properly checked, and make sure they're secured and ready to go when we sell the truck. As you can see, the frame rail, rider went and had the frame rails all painted. All this has been repainted black, and all the grease has been cleaned and free on the truck. Our next step we'll do is we'll do a tire inspection. As you can see, all these tires are in good shape. We'll make sure there aren't any cracks, tears, rips, holes, or punctures in them. Make sure that the rubber is in good shape, meets everything we want it to be. Then we'll check the air ride system, make sure it's got air ride suspension under, check the specs and verifying that rider worked it that way. And then we'll do a visual on our brakes. Brakes are a big thing with customers along with tires. It's something when they purchase a truck, they do not want to have to put brakes or tires on a truck. We'll check the tread depth, check the brakes, check the drums on all of them. This one's in good shape, ready to go. So we'll check it out. We'll also turn on all the lights, and we'll visually inspect all the lights to make sure that they were all done and all checked, along with the DOT state inspection on the windshield. So gotta have mud flaps. We'll look for DOT things. These right now, they have to be on this, a new DOT law, you have to have a reflective strip on the back of the mud flap, so that's on there. All the interior, make sure all the upholstery is in good, clean shape. There's no rips, tears, or grease on the seats. All the interior is to be clean.
That means the sleeper part as well, correct?
Yep. From front to rear, it's gone through and cleaned. And then from the inside of the cab, we'll basically check your air conditioning, make sure your components are working correctly, make sure our jake brakes are working correctly, make sure your radio works correctly, windshield wipers are working correctly, horns working correctly, air brake valves working correctly. We pretty much do a real thorough inspection when they come in to assure that when we get ready to sell them that everything is up and ready to go.
Are there any fluid changes required for the, in terms of the transmission fluid or anything like that? You go through a check to see where you're at with that?
Yeah, we do. We actually will check, when the shop sends over the paperwork, we'll actually go and check when the last BPM, CPM, or APM was done. A CPM with rider is everything that's done annually is your rears, transmissions, and oil. Your APM and BPMs are other filters that are changed. Now BPM, your oil changes are done. If it hasn't been done within 50% of the life when it gets here, then rider will have it done before it gets here. So, and then we check, make sure our DOT state inspection is valid, make sure it's good. And we try to get them in with at least 6 to 8 months worth of operating. If not, we reject it and send it back and make them redo the state inspection on it.